He finally dropped about 50% humidity down from like high 80s, 90% humidity. Here. Oh, I just spooked jumped a hawk. I just jumped up a hawk. It was in the ferns right over there on the edge of the blueberry field. Flew this way. As you see, I'm in a blueberry field. The blueberry crop looks good this year. There's a lot of black bear in this area. Look at these beautiful tall pines. Just on the other side of those pines, there's a big wetland. There's standing water, a pond and stream, a river running through it. And that stream and river runs that way. And as you see here, there's ample blueberries, lots of blueberries. A lot of broad-leaved and herbaceous, also herbaceous, low-lying vegetation intermingled in the field here, all laced through the field and in the forest that the bear love to eat. Black bear don't just love berries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, wild cherries, and they don't just love nuts like acorns and beech nut, white and red oat acorns, things like that. They also love like skunk cabbage, dandelions, clovers. They're all the different types of grasses that you can find out there. And there's they'll eat fiddleheads. They'll eat broad-leaved species, like your maple leaves, oak leaves. They'll eat leaves off trees and buds. They eat essentially everything a porcupine will eat, everything a white-tailed deer will eat. If you're in black bear country, you're going to find all the other species, moose and deer and coyote, fox, bobcat, squirrels, turkey, birds. All those other critters also make a living in and around where black bear essentially like to live as well. And they all share the same food sources for the most part. And obviously, in farm country, where there's lots of cornfields, a black bear population, and in a sense, like out in Alaska and northern Canada, where there's grizzly bear and black bear can devastate a cornfield. They'll just set up camp right out in the middle of the cornfields and just devour all the corn and kill and essentially wreak havoc on the farmers' corn crops. So there's that. There's obviously agricultural foods that bear will seek after if there's black bear living in and around that agricultural area. And here, this is an agricultural area in the sense this is the wild blueberry barrens of Maine. There's over 30,000 acres of blueberry fields that Cherryfield Foods manages. There's a lot of blueberries out here. And you can also find in various locations raspberries and blackberries and other various berries like partridge berry and hobblebush berry and all a bunch of different berries that may be ripening this time of year. August, coming up on August. We're in July right now. Be August in a couple weeks, a week and a half or so. And so the blueberries, they're, as you just saw, I just showed them to you. Let's go check them out. As you see, the blueberries, they're ripening pretty quick too. It's going to be an early start to blueberry harvest this year, like a week earlier harvest startup time than last year. These berries are ripening pretty quick. And I'm finding that it might be hard getting black bear on a regular basis visiting my bait sites this year. There's ample food for them this year. It seems like natural food for bears out in the woods. And so it's going to be tricky to get a consistent visitor. Get some black bear consistently coming on a daily basis to the bait sites. So I just found an oak right here. This is, what species do you think this is, everybody? Look at that leaf. Look how pointy those leaves are. If you guessed red oak, you'd be right. So this is a red oak tree. It's a sapling though. Look how young this red oak sapling is. It's going to be several more years before this red oak tree will be mature enough to start producing acorns. I think it's, you can't quote me on this, but I might be 6 to somewhere between 5, 8 years old before an oak tree will start producing hard mass. But you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if you know the exact year that oak trees typically start maturing enough to produce hard mass. Drop the comments down below. I think it's like over 5 years. Here, there's another fruiting tree. There's berries on this tree too. I don't know. Can't tell you for sure if the bear will eat these berries or the birds. Birds probably eat them. It's looking like it's a. I wonder if this is a black cherry tree. Might be. Looks like a cherry. This may be a black cherry tree, everybody. I'll have to take a picture of it with the iPhone and hit the eye for information, see what comes up for an ID. But this is looking at, it doesn't look like an alder. It's not a speckled alder. I think. And that leaf, man, that the leaves look awfully lot like wild cherry leaf. I think we got some wild black cherry trees in here, some oaks, maples, blueberries, and grasses, and ferns, and other herbaceous vegetation out there in the field. There's a lot of food for the black bear around here, and bedding cover where they, a lot of damp, wet, mossy covered forest over there where the bear can lay up in the heat of the day, and lots of water close by. Let's see, we're coming up on August. The black bear, it's getting really close to fall months. The last several months, like the last 4+ months, the black bear have only needed like about between 5 and 8,000 calories a day to live healthily, live a nice healthy lifestyle. But coming up on fall, black bear actually require over like 12,000, 10, 12 or more thousand calories a day, leading into the cold, bittersweet, cold, wet winter months. So obviously that's going to make for a thirsty animal. If you were, just think about it, if we were consuming that many calories a day, we would need an awful lot to drink to wash that down, to help digest that food and to help the body absorb and use the energy from that food. So in turn, the black bear too also need a lot of water, needing to consume that many calories a day in the fall. So I like to, so tip number 1 I'm going to give you for your black bear baiting sites. Looks like we have 2 thumbs up, 2 people watching right now. Hopefully more join us. It is a Friday though, so I don't expect there to be too many people on here watching me live right now, being a Friday leading into the weekend. But number 1 tip I want to give all of you for your black bear baits sites out there this fall is don't just provide really sweet, fatty, carbohydrate, carb packing foods, dry foods like cookies, donuts, nuts, trail mixes, things like that. Also provide a water source. I like to dig a hole that'll fit a 5-gallon bucket, and I'll bring milk jugs filled with water to fill it initially, fill it right up, and I'll pack it full of cherry Kool-Aid mixes, and I'll throw some bag of sugar in there. So 1 bag of sugar, several packets of cherry Kool-Aid mixes in a 5-gallon bucket, and the bucket set down in a hole in the ground. So obviously I have to bring with me to the bait side a shovel, 5-gallon bucket, Kool-Aid and water to fill, and in turn also several buckets full of food to put in the bait barrel or bait bucket, whatever I'm using for the bait site at that particular site, whether it could just be a bucket or it could be a 55-gallon drum that I'm filling with food. So not only am I providing dry, really sweet, fatty foods, but I'm also providing a watering source, a sweet flavored yummy drinking water and source for the bear as well. And I found that the bear absolutely love that. It's going to ensure that you're going to hold the bear there for ample time. If the bait site goes dry, meaning all the food's gone, not even a crumb left in your barrel, and there's no water source nearby and nothing for them to drink close by your bait site, they're going to move on. They could be several miles away. They could be gone for days, weeks, and in some cases for the whole rest of your baiting season on black bear. You want to hold the bear at your site. And to do that, they've got to have food every time they visit. Every time a bear comes into your bait site, that black bear must have a reward, something to eat, and in turn, something to drink really close by. Either have your bait really close to a water source, a pond, lake, stream, river, not very far away, just no more than a couple 100 yards away, or provide water for them in the way that I just mentioned, that I shared with you. So, yeah. And another tip I found the last couple years, I just kind of found this out on my own. I never read about this tip, never saw this anywhere else on YouTube or any other hunting videos. I found that if you go into the supermarket, Shaw's, Hannaford, whatever kind of shop and save type style supermarket, food mart that you have near you, go in there, go into the Scentsy air freshener cleaning section of the store, look for Renews It air fresheners. They're 99.99% all natural ingredients, products. They're non-hazardous, they're not hazardous. It says all natural ingredients that makes up these Renews It. They actually pretty much, in a sense, smell like gelatin, like Jello or Kool-Aid. Very, very strong scent. I like to use the apple cinnamon Renews It and the cherry. They have the cherry flavored and cherry scented Renews It air fresheners. And you peel off the outer packaging from these Renews It, and you open them, you twist and pull up, and they open up, and just the natural environment around them helps absorb them, helps dry them up. The air and stuff just starts drying up the Renews It, the air freshener within, and it just emits into the air. The wind carries that scent far, far away. And I found a couple years ago that these things are dynamite at firing up a bait site that bear haven't come to. A lot of times I'll start a bait site, and in a sense I might go to a brand new spot location I've never baited before, and I'll establish a bait site there, and I'll use these Renews It's to fire it up to get the bear coming to it, and they work like a charm. I've had baits too be cold for a week or two, no bear coming, and I've hung these Renews It air freshener things, these cherry scented or the apple cinnamon scented Renews It's up in the tree. I put them further than I can reach, as far as I can reach. So in a sense, so the bear, in hopes of the bear won't pinpoint exactly where they are and pull them out of the tree and lick them and carry them off in the woods. Because obviously you've got to pick up your trash too. Try not to litter, be a litter bug, and have trash spread out all through the forest. You don't want that. Try to use baiting sources, attractants and baiting sources that aren't going to produce a lot of litter and unsightly litter and trash all through the woods. I try to be that way. I try to be conscientious of that. So I'll put a spike in a tree or in a broken branch in a tree that's further than I can reach. I'll bend the branch down and I'll slide these Renews It's. Another thing that's cool about these Renews It's is they have a hollowed out hole center in them, almost like they were designed for bear hunters like me and you, which is super funny. But they obviously weren't made for bear hunting. They were made to freshen the air in your houses and stuff. But they work like a charm to fire up a cold bait site to get the black bear coming. It attracts them, pulls them from far distance away, coming to eat at your bait site. As long as that every time that bear comes to that bait site of yours, that they're getting rewarded, they're going to keep coming back, want to come back. They're going to fill up your bait site, because if you're going to have a lot of food there, right? And a lot for them to drink close by or right at your site, right? I hope so. And so they're going to go off. They're going to go off with a full belly and sleep for hours on end, rest up. And then when they get hungry again, they're going to be thinking about your bait site. They're going to come back to your bait site first, look for an easy morsel of food, easy bite to eat, something to drink. And if there's nothing there for them, they're going to move on, search of food and drink elsewhere. And they could go miles and miles away and never come back for days or weeks on end. Hunting season could go on by without you ever seeing that bear again. So please definitely do yourself a favor if you want to be a successful bear hunter. Keep your bait fresh and every day. Make sure that your bait site does not go dry. So that renuzit will be, let's get back on the renuzzits. The renuzit will be about, I'm on my tippy toes. I'll have it hanging way up there, tree. And just the sun and air and wind will help. We'll just start it'll just, that scent, that gelatin, it's like a gelatin jelly-like air freshening thing inside this container. It looks just like Jello in a sense, and it'll just absorb into the air, and that scent just go. When I'm coming up to one of my bait sites that has one of these renuzzits in at the bait site, I can smell it long before I even see the bait barrel. It's that super strong, and obviously our sense of smell is nowhere anywhere and as good as a black bear's sense of smell. And so you can imagine how far away a black bear can smell one of those things. So that was tip number 2. That was a long-winded explanation about tip number 2. So tip number 1, have a drink at some kind of watering source, at a man-made watering source with a 5-gallon bucket, jugs of water, Kool-Aid, sugar, mix in, fill it all the way. The rains that come and go throughout the season will keep it refreshing, but just make an effort every so many days. Obviously, go to your bait every morning, check your bait as often as possible, keep that bait freshened. Another tip too, only bait in the morning. And try to bait within the same hour time frame every morning. Keep everything almost essentially the same. Have your path, your baiting path, not the path you take to hunt the black bear, but the path you're using to go from your truck to your bait site. Have it cleared and beat down good, and only stick to that path, only that baiting path from the truck to the bait barrel. Go bait, refresh your water, Kool-Aid, sugar, whatever. Fill the barrel, and then bang your bucket 3 times with a stick. If you're going to do that, sound the dinner bell. Some people do this. I like to do it. I'll have a stick. I'll use any stick and bang my bait barrel 3 times, real loud, make it sound like a dinner bell. If you're doing that every day, every morning in the same hour time frame, between 8 and 9 or 7 and 8, whatever hour you choose, and you're sticking to that same path to and from when baiting, you're doing everything the same, using somewhat similar foods, and you're keeping that water bucket filled, banging 3 times only. If it's 3 or 4 or 5, however many times you bang that barrel to sound that dinner bell, have it be the same. It's got to be the same every time, and stick to that path. There, in a sense, the master baiter, the black bear baiter, the one baiting that site, is going to be the most successful hunter. That black bear is going to become accustomed to that. The person baiting, the bears are going to become accustomed and used to their sense, their sight. If the bear could be close by watching the bait site as the person coming in to feed them, filling the barrel and filling the water and all that, you might see them. So you want to be the one to bait. Don't have like 5 or 6 other people coming and going at various times of the day and different days come bait your bait site. You want the bear to be used to your scent and the sight of you and your sounds and everything. And it's going to make you just that much more successful at harvesting a black bear. I often will bring my son into bait sites. So I'm introducing to that site a different scent, sound. Obviously, young kids, he's only 11 now. So at 10 and 9 and 8 and as he was younger, I was bringing him into bait sites. You can't keep kids quiet and can't keep them from fidgeting and all that. So you're introducing different sounds and smells and sights and stuff to your bait site. And I've brought him many times, handful of times every season, and we've never had one visitor, not one black bear, come in. But as soon as an evening came that I got to hunt by myself alone to try to shoot a black bear, and my son didn't come with me, the bear would come in. I'd have sows and their cubs visit, get to watch and film them, observe them for a couple hours, and then they'd leave an hour, 2 hours after they were gone. The bear I eventually harvest would come in, and that's because they were so darn used to my scents, smells, my sounds. If I can never shut up, I'm a jibber jabber. I always talk to myself. Often I'm on the phone or on camera talking, whispering, and I'm a loud whisperer. My whisper sounds like normal volume. So, and the bear were accustomed to that, used to that. Maybe I'm humming a tune or talking to myself as I'm walking in and out of my bait site. So the bear used to my sounds, scent, sight of me, and all that. So just remember, the person that established the bait site and is baiting often is going to be the most successful at shooting a black bear at that bait site. You can have buddies, your son, your children, your wife, or your buddies shoot a bear at that bait site. If they come in with you, come in tow, make them as scent free as possible. Have them wear clothing that was washed in baking soda or washed in some sort of scent free detergent, and that scent free, and spray them down, take some ferns and pine boughs and rub it all over their clothing. Have them chew like a minty flavored gum, some type of gum to help, or suck on apples to help mask their breath odor of their mouth, and tell them to be extremely quiet and still and stand, and have them just emulate your steps as you're walking in, and have them sneaking into the stand as you're baiting the barrel, filling the water bucket, and you're doing you're taking a stick and you're sounding the dinner bell 3 times, and you're walking right out of there and starting your pickup truck and leaving, and that bear is listening, and the bear sounds like you have left. You freshen their food, you're gone, and then the bear might come sauntering on in for a bite to eat. But lo and behold, there's a hunter up in the tree ready to shoot them. And then, and usually only then, will another person, someone different other than you, the baiter, will be able to shoot a bear. That's how you can get your buddies a bear at your bait site. But let's say you send your buddy out to your bait site, show them where your bait site is, and you let them bait it. You establish their sense and sound and sight. The sound of their vehicle isn't coming in. The bear hears all this, sees and smells that hunter. Most likely the bear are going to shy away from that bait site. But if your buddies, this is key, this is important, your buddy can still be successful doing that, baiting themselves, if you give one of your bait sites over to them. If they start baiting every day, the first 3, 4, 5, 6, even in some cases maybe 7 days of them baiting every day, every morning, using the same vehicle, using the same path, similar foods and water and Kool-Aid, all that, doing everything the same, sounding the dinner bell. 4, 5, 6 days into the black bear, we're going to get used to them, accustomed to them all of a sudden. The black bear are extremely smart. They have the ability to reason, to rationalize. This is just how smart and wise black bear are. They're going to be studying that bait site off every day, every minute of the day. They're going to want to go in there to eat and drink, fill their bellies before going on to nap. And so they're going to circle that bait site, often scent checking that bait site, looking, observing, listening, smelling it, trying to figure it all out. But if day 2 or day 3, day 4 comes, and they're still smelling that same dude, which is your buddy, your friend that you let hunt your bait site, they're smelling that same scent. Oh, and they're looking, they see that same dude baiting the barrel, going, leaving. They'll start feeling a little more comfortable at maybe sauntering in and kind of get a bite to eat. They're going to start becoming more comfortable and accustomed to their sounds and sights and smell. So someone else can be successful, but they've got to be consistent. And so I've often found, like when I take a week vacation to bear hunt, all the times I've done it in the years past, like first of all, I want to say I've shot in like 14 black bear, all with a bow and arrow, only one of the 14 with a gun, with a rifle. But I've been successful with a bow and arrow on like 13 black bear. And I found that when I take a week-long vacation from work to bear hunt, and a lot of times when working and trying to bait, I don't get out every single day. I might bait every 2 or every 3rd day in the week, every third to bait, check the bait site. But I found that when able to bait every day in that week vacation, that I'd been successful on Thursday or Fridays. It took the bear a little time, a few days, kind of get used to me being there and used to my sense and everything, and me coming and going. And it just eventually the black bear will get brave enough and become more comfortable with the person coming and going. And you could trick them, go in, freshen the bait, like real good early morning, at the same time every morning, leave, and come back like by noontime, like just no more than a couple hours later, or even immediately, like within the hour of having freshened your bait. It's just stalk the bait, stalk your stand, still hunt in real quietly, slowly, sneak up into your stand as quietly as possible, get strapped in your safety harness and get settled in. And you're playing trickery on that bear. You're making them think that you are gone. You baited, you're banging on the barrel, you made all that noise coming in and out. They think you're gone, you're long gone. They're gonna come and get a bite to eat, but lo and behold, you're hidden in that up in that tree stand, waiting for your shot opportunity. So that's kind of how I do it, and I've been extremely successful baiting black bear that way. But see, I've been on live 26 minutes. I talked about baiting black bear, but this is hunting tip. Okay, now when searching for black bear, you want to establish a state that you know has a large black bear population. Go to black bear country where you just know there are bear living there, and to find black bear, to still hunt, to just hunt, conventionally hunt, in hopes to stumble upon one. You know, you got to find their food sources. All, in a sense, like all of Maine, all the forests in Maine, all of Maine's forest has bear food, but not every forest in Maine is going to hold black bear. Black bear require very minimal, if like no human disturbance. They shy away from a lot of human activity. You're not going to have good black bear hunting near subdivision, near highways and roads close by. A lot of construction and a lot of people, hikers, people coming and going there. Yes, black bear will live nearby all that, but you may not. They're going to probably not venture out to feed until the cover darkness. You're not going to have much success in those type of areas. But seek, mountainous, hilly, brush lines. Seek 2-3-year-old cuts up in the hill, mountainous parts of the state or in black bear country. Look for fresh green up. If it's a spring hunt you're on, you've got to look for the fresh green up. Anything green, the bear are going to devour early spring. And then as time goes on, certain foods will dry up, and they're going to go on to foods for that particular month, herbaceous plants that are nutritious to them at that point in time. Clovers and grasses stay palatable and edible to them all the way through to winter. So if you can find ample grassy areas, a lot of ferns, a lot of plantain and hobblebush, and then let's see, and sheep sorrel and grasses, stuff like that. You find a lot of that out near streams, and a water source, and thick cover nearby, good, real cool bedding cover. You're most likely going to find black bear scat and evidence of you might find black bear tracks, a black bear path. And look on go to swamp edges, go to ditches like ravines, drainage ditches. Bear will travel these cover of these ditches. They'll travel through almost all my bait sites I've established near where there's a lot of drainages or little ravines or ditches that run downhill towards water, towards the stream that's nearby or river that's nearby. And they'll travel that for cover as they're sneaking into your bait sites and stuff. So, but if you just want to just hunt black bear, not hunt over bait, hunt bear, not over bait, you want to look for those drainages and brush lines and swamp edges and 2 to 3-year-old cuttings, clear cuts. Why I've mentioned that, why they're so good. you can imagine that a 2-3-year-old cut has all this has all the saplings, that there's a lot of new growth coming up, and it's all edible. It's all potential food for black bear. And in those 2-3-year-old cuttings, often there's a lot of the raspberries and blackberries grow, establish themselves, and the blueberries will grow there. A lot of berries, saplings, herbaceous vegetation. And it's also, and a lot of times when cuttings are starting to grow in, when they're that young, the vegetation is about head high, chest high, head high, super, super thick, dense cover for them, a nice, safe way for them to travel, to eat. And they're going to choose those cuttings that have water nearby so they don't have to travel too far to drink. So just look for places like that when looking for black bear. They're good starting points to go look for black bear sign, black bear scat, and tracks, browse sign, just any evidence of black bear being there. And then you're on the right track into hopefully stumbling upon a black bear. You know, maybe you'll be able to spot one in the distance and stalk it, put the sneak on it, and harvest a black bear without needing to utilize bait. It's virtually, but in Maine, the forest is so dense and thick, you don't have a lot of wide open terrain like in Alaska and up in Canada where you can stalk black bear on mountainside and stuff, or in big wide open plains. You can't do that as so easily in Maine, in places like the state of Maine. Maine has an ample amount of black bear. One of the largest black bear populations in the northern hemisphere, the northern United States, northern part of the United States stuff. So, but out here on the blueberry barrens, we've got these big, wide open, as far as I can see, blueberry fields. A hunter would do well in the first week of bear season in Maine to seek out blueberry fields in the early mornings and the last couple hours of the day, of the evening. In the early morning and late evening, go to blueberry fields and blueberry barrens, like, or just in any blueberry field that's just laced with berries. A bear hunter would do well to just glass the field's edges, look for bear feeding on blueberries, and then maybe you could be successful that way. Because the blueberries are going to dry up. They're not going to be as favored by black bear leading into September. About mid-September, the blueberries wither up and dry up, and they're not as palatable and not as good to eat by that time. So the last week of August through the first couple weeks of September, if you could find a field that still has ample blueberries on it, you can target that area in hopes to find spot and stalk a black bear. Given that blueberry field is already right smack dab in the middle of bear country, where there's a population of black bear nearby. So those are some tips and hunting tactics that I wanted to share with all of you. I think I've gone long enough. It's been over a half hour jibber jabbering. So hopefully these black bear hunting and tips help you in your future black bear hunts. And yeah, I'm horrible at ending these live streams. I never know how I should end it, but yeah, smash that like button before you go, if you could. Hey, if you're not subscribed to my Spikes and Gills YouTube channel yet, why don't you go ahead and subscribe now. The notification bell so you'll be notified of all future uploads. If you love deer hunting and turkey hunting and bear hunting, fishing as much as I do, then this channel is definitely for you. If you love fly fishing, ice fishing, bow hunting, deer and bear and turkey, stuff like that, then this channel, Spikes and Gills, is definitely for you. Definitely subscribe. Smash that like button before you go. Great, appreciate it. And you got to check out my Spikes and Gills merch. There might be a link somewhere in the video or in all the videos you watch. You might be able to see a link that will click on that. You can go and browse the products, the hoodies and t-shirts, hats, things that I might have for merch, like Spikes and Gills. You got to check all that out. Before you go, smash that like button. Definitely subscribe. Spikes and Gills if you're not already. Greatly appreciate the support. Follow everybody. So until next time, God bless. Wish you the best of luck out there this black bear hunting season. I hope you get one. And I will see you next time.